The fall of Nehekara and the tragic destruction of its people were brought about by the ambition of a single, twisted sorcerer. Once he held the honored position of High Priest of Treachery, yet he began to corrupt the religious incantations of the Order of Priests and betrayed the King of Treachery, his own brother. Filled with greed and pride, Nagash coveted the throne held by his brother and set into motion a plan to become king as well as high priest. One night, as the clouds covered the moon, he murdered the young king, entombing him alive within the Great Pyramid of Ketep. The next morning, blood still staining his hands, he placed himself upon the throne, and none dared confront him. The reign of Nagash was a time of terror for all the peoples of Nehekara. The usurper king sought to increase his own power by means of devilish sorcery, a blasphemy that the people of Nehekara felt certain would incur the wrath of the gods. He conjured evil demons to do his bidding and learned many dark secrets in this way. In order to build his own tomb, he demanded great quantities of gold and slaves to be sent in tribute to Treachery. Stone, the color of ebony, was brought from afar, and soon the Black Pyramid of Nagash towered above all others, rising hundreds of meters into the sky. So great was the tribute brutally exacted by Nagash that starvation racked the lands, and the great cities fell into ruin. Eventually, the kings of the other cities of Nehekara rallied against Nagash, and their armies attacked Treachery. The priest King Nagash used his infernal powers to raise a legion of long-dead warriors. This was the very first time that the dead were made to walk at the will of another, and the horror of it caused many to flee. After a titanic battle, Nagash was eventually defeated. Some thought him destroyed, yet he managed to escape to the northeast to plot his revenge. The accursed Black Pyramid was abandoned, and for centuries it remained a haunted place, shunned by all. For hundreds of years, the kings continued to rule Nehekara, yet the corruption of Nagash had tarnished the royal line of Treachery, and his treachery was never forgotten. His blasphemous dabblings in cursed sorcery spread to the cities of Lamia, whose queen embraced the malign magic and consorted with demonic powers. She had drunk from the elixir of Nagash, extending her life indefinitely, yet cursing her for all eternity. Fearful of the wrath of the gods, King Al-Kadizar made war on the tainted queen, leading a massed army against Lamia. Hundreds of chariots raced across the land ahead of the mighty phalanxes of archers and spearmen. The might of Lamia was smashed, and the queen fled, accompanied by those she had embraced into her cursed vampiric existence. Nagash, who had managed to escape his destruction, was now residing in the mountains to the northeast of Treachery, and he recognized the spawn of his own ancient evil and was gladdened by the corruption of the lords of Lamia. He welcomed them, and the vampires became his captains, fell creatures clad in dark shadows whose actions were guided by the strength of their master's will. Nagash sent vampires to make war upon Treachery, and he vowed to turn the entire world into a kingdom of the dead. At their back came the dead warriors of a mighty army, skeletons drawn from their tombs by the power of Nagash's sorcery. War and strife assailed the kingdoms for years on end, and the land was irredeemably scarred. But Nagash underestimated his former countrymen. Alcazar, the Conqueror, was the greatest general of his age, and led the unified army of Nehekara against Nagash's evil for all the long years of battle. Finally, the undead hordes of Nagash were pushed back, yet the evil sorcerer himself still walked the land. His corrupt necromantic magic was still new and not yet perfected, and his power was not as great as it would later become.